Here we go. We should be live. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can. I do see a lot of you guys already in the comments right now. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining the live. Haven't done one of these in a while, man, ever since the season ended. And so I thought, you know what? There's been a lot of news. There's been a lot to talk about. So I was like, let me just get on for a little bit and answer some questions. So that's what I'm going to do. Hang out here for a couple minutes with you guys, answer whatever questions you guys have. And yeah, we'll just have a good time. And remember, whatever questions you guys have, you guys can ask me NFL related, Bears, Bulls related, whatever it is. Super chat to get your question answered right away, and we'll kind of go from there. All right. So a lot of news with the Matt Stafford trade going down. Obviously, we all want to talk about Deshaun Watson. So I'm ready to talk. So let's go ahead and get started here from I think it's Jerome. Faiz, do you think the Texans are going to trade Watson right before the draft or sooner when they have the most say? I believe the Houston Texans will trade Deshaun Watson before the draft and certainly, obviously, before free agency because you do not want to enter the draft with this, hanging over your head. And when you're going into a period of the draft and free agency when literally this is going to be so important for your team's future, you don't want this hanging over your shoulder and your head. And so I believe that the timeline for Deshaun Watson getting traded is going to be prior to the draft because I can't imagine you have a new GM, a new head coach, and they have to deal with Deshaun Watson still being on the roster while they're drafting, right? So it's like, no, I can't do it. All right, from Mad Mike Faiz, do you think Watson will come down to choosing Washington, the Chicago Bears, or the 49ers? I'm not including Jets because they're rebuilding and not the Dolphins because Tua is still the QB. I agree with you, Mad Mike, on that, but I would also add I don't want to include the Jets and the Dolphins because they're in the AFC, and if I'm Deshaun, I want to get the hell out of the AFC because the Chiefs aren't going anywhere. Okay, so from those teams that you mentioned, Washington, Chicago, and San Francisco, if I'm Deshaun Watson, where do I go from those three? They all have their pros and cons. Washington is in a very weak division, and so he's going to be able to have a chance to go to the playoffs, but they don't have as many offensive weapons, right? You have a very good defense, but offensively, it's Terry McLaurin and maybe Antonio Gibson. That's it. Chicago, great defense, more offensive pieces. Maybe the weather is a negative for Deshaun. And then San Francisco, love the fact that you have Kyle Shanahan. That's a positive. So I think all three of those teams are good options for Deshaun Watson. It's really going to be up to him for what he wants. Now, if you ask me, between those three teams, you add Deshaun Watson, which team becomes an immediate Super Bowl contender? I would say the 49ers and the Bears. So it's between those two. Victor with a question. Hey, Faiz, according to Evan Massey, the Bears and the Colts are interested in QB Jameis Winston. Can't see how he would save Peyton Nagy's job. I saw that report. If the Chicago Bears start this next season with Jameis Winston as their QB1, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are gone. Simple as that. Oscarina, we want Watson, but I'm not sure he wants us. In my opinion, the one besides Deshaun, I think would be great if we can get him as Dak. Absolutely, I would love Dak Prescott. I know there has been a lot of talk about Dak Prescott because of the fact that, again, we're all talking about Deshaun Watson, but Dak Prescott, if we could just get him in free agency because he is a free agent, and you just, you pay him the money that he wants, even though it is a lot of money, you'd be able to keep everybody and upgrade at quarterback. So Dak would be a great option. The problem I have is I just don't think Dak is realistic because I just don't see how the Cowboys let him go. Like they saw the team without Dak Prescott. They literally saw it with Andy Dalton. I wouldn't be happy with that. So I don't see them letting go of Dak Prescott. I think they re-sign him. All right, here we go. Torian, Bears should stay at 20, fix the O-line, sign Robinson, draft a QB, start Foles, and finish 4-12. I hope you're joking. That would be a disaster. Victor, the minimum acceptable is Derek Carr. I agree with that. Derek Carr would be a great, should say great. He'd be a good fallback option if Deshaun Watson doesn't go through. So it's Deshaun Watson, then a huge drop-off, and then you got like Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, guys like that. So, yeah, it's To me, the only three acceptable options now in the trade market are Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, and Derek Carr. I think if you get one of those three, obviously Deshaun Watson's the home run, but if you get Matt Ryan and Derek Carr, I think that's acceptable enough for the Bears fan base and for maybe even the front office to be like, okay, it's a good enough option. If you get a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Tyrod Taylor, a Jameis Winston, yeah, no, it's not happening. Like we're getting our pitchforks out here and we're charging to Hal Assault and getting Ryan Pace the hell out of there. And if you're asking me, Jimmy Garoppolo and Sam Darnold, still not happy with that. Still not happy with that. Like, folks, the 49ers spent their entire last 2 seasons hiding Jimmy Garoppolo behind the run game. Might as well re-sign Mitchell Trubisky at that point, right? So, not a big fan of that. All right, so here we go. What else we got here? Faiz, Ari, what's going on? Reese, Elijah, Poof, and David. I see you guys. Everyone, make sure you like. Yes, please make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Trying to make a push to 20K. I know we're a little far away from that, but I'll try. Again, super chat if you want to have your question answered right away. I'm trying to go through these as fast as I can. You know what? I'm not going fast enough. Let me try to get everyone's question answered, so let's do this. Reese, do you think we can still make a push for Watson even though the GM doesn't want to trade him? Yes. That is all coach speak, GM speak. They said the same thing about Odell Beckham Jr. They said, well, we didn't sign OBJ to trade him. They traded him. They said the same thing about Jamal Adams. The Jets did. We want Jamal Adams to be a Jet for life. They traded him to Seattle. I don't listen to that. I don't pay attention to that. Who do you think is going to be a Bears QB next year? I hope it's Deshaun Watson. David Patel, does the Stafford trade impact the market for other QBs? Is it that expensive now? Well, I put this on my Twitter yesterday. By the way, follow me on Twitter. The asking price for Deshaun Watson was always going to be high. But what the Matt Stafford trade did is it just confirmed how high it's going to be. So Matt Stafford went for 2 1s and a third and Jared Goff. Let's put Jared Goff aside and just focus on the draft capital. So 2 1s and a third for Stafford. That means Deshaun Watson is going to go for 3 firsts. I would have said 4, but you can't trade more than 3 first-round picks. So 3 firsts, 3 seconds, and potentially a third. That would be the draft capital for Deshaun Watson, I believe. Amar, do you think the Niners have a better chance than the Bears to get Deshaun Watson? The Niners and the Bears are interesting because, again, they're both in the NFC, which is where I believe Deshaun Watson should want to go. For me, I still think Chicago would be a better team than San Fran if they get Deshaun Watson because they've got more offensive talent, which is funny enough to say because the 49ers have George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk. But, again, it's tough. It's tough. I think it's a 50-50 shot. Again, maybe I'm being biased here in saying that I think he should come to Chicago, but it's tough to kind of, say one team has the advantage over the other. I think the 49ers and the Bears are very close. But I will say one thing, and I brought this up on my Deshaun Watson pitch to Chicago video, is the one advantage that Chicago has over San Fran is legacy. Deshaun Watson comes to the Bears, and he wins a Super Bowl for the Bears. He's a legend. No doubt about it. And Chicago is a football city. San Francisco, they've won multiple Super Bowls. They've had greats. They've got the second greatest quarterback of all time in Joe Montana. They've had Steve Young. They've had mega success. And so Deshaun Watson going there, he's not going to jump those guys, even if he wins the Super Bowl. Legacy-wise, Chicago would be better for him. So that's the one advantage I'll say there. All right, here we go. Ernest Martin, did you hear about what Mike Vick said? I did hear about what Mike Vick said, and I'm going to make a video on it, so stay tuned for that. So thank you, Ernest. Jonathan, why is everyone dumping on Tua in this season? He didn't even complete a full season. Calm the hell down. Thank you. Thank you for saying exactly what I've been saying since the season ended. Tua Tagovailoa literally played 1 season, not even a full season, and we're ready to move off of him? Really? Jared Goff, Mitchell Trubisky, Carson Wentz, all these guys that haven't panned out have gotten literally multiple seasons. And Tua doesn't even get 1? More than 1, I should say, because he didn't complete a full one. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm not saying don't make a push for Deshaun Watson. I'm not saying that. But How is it that you're ready to judge Tua off half a season that he's trash? Right? First of all, I believe the Dolphins sabotaged Tua because they shouldn't have never started him in the first place. Just sit him the whole year because Fitz was playing well and then start him the year after. You've seen the success quarterbacks have had that sit for an entire year. Hello, Patrick Mahomes, like Aaron Rodgers. You've seen that, so they messed up by not sitting Tua the entire season. So I totally agree. I don't know why they're ready to give up on Tua so quickly. Cooper Ferdman, if the Texans come to you and tell you to give them one offer, if they don't like it, you can't ever ask again, what are you giving up for Deshaun Watson? I will give up 3 firsts, 3 seconds, a third, and a young player in Roquan, Mooney, or Jalen Johnson. I'm ready to do that trade. What are your thoughts on trading Roquan? Love Roquan, but I'm trading Roquan every single day and twice on Sundays for a elite quarterback. It's just a position thing. I'm sorry. I love Roquan. It's just a position thing. T. Davis, why should Ryan Pace get a pass? He missed Watson after coming off a national championship. Now we have to pay a grip. Let's just draft properly. He's not getting a pass. He's actually on the hot seat. If he doesn't get a quarterback this season, he's out. What are the chances we get J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson, Isaac C? I don't think I want J.J. Watt in terms of the salary that would come on, so I would say 0% chance we get both. Well, I should say 0% chance. There's always a chance. Never say never. 1% chance. There you go. I am Josh 717. What are the top teams for getting Deshaun Watson? I would say the top teams to get Watson are the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bears, the 49ers, Panthers, and then maybe Washington. If we don't get Watson or Dak, need to draft, what would it take to move up number 2 to get Wilson from Joshua? Here's the thing about that. If you don't get Dak, if you don't get Deshaun, I still say you try to go for another veteran like a Matt Ryan, like a Derek Carr. Here's the thing. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace have 1 season left or they're out of here. They can't afford to wait for a rookie quarterback to develop with a ready-to-win now roster. So I don't believe they want to trade up and get a rookie, even though, again, that might be the traditional right way to do things. So that's why I say I still think they go and try to get a veteran quarterback. I will give up 5 first-round picks to get Watson. Scott Gettner. I agree with you, Scott, but you can't trade more than 3 according to the rules. Jimmy, what's the odds of getting Watson on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm assuming you're asking for the Chicago Bears. I'm going to say that right now I think the Bears are a 6.5 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm at, and a lot of it's going to depend on Ryan Pace making the right pitch. Let's see here. The Bears, yo, Faiz, I contacted the official agents of Deshaun Watson and sent a link to your pitch for Watson. I hope you did, man. Thank you so much. That would be incredible if Deshaun was able to see that and understand how bad the city wants him. Let's see here. Trying to get through the questions as quickly as we can. Go follow Faiz on TikTok. I haven't posted on TikTok in a while, man. I'm gonna go ahead and start posting there. Don't you worry. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Thoughts on the Bulls last night? Yeah, just an awful, heartbreaking game. We've lost so many of these close games, man. It just gets old. But again, I'm not judging the Bulls completely this season by wins and losses. I'm gonna take a look at development wise, and I like what I see from Thaddeus Young. In terms of him, bringing that veteran presence. Zach LaVine obviously has been a stud. Lowry's been stepping up a little bit. Nice game from Kobe yesterday. So I'm not going to overreact here, but yeah, that was brutal. Dame is Dame. What can I say? Let's see here. Peyton 2, Cold Mac. If we don't get Watson, we should trade up for Fields. I told you guys my thoughts on trading for a rookie quarterback. I don't think they want to do it. And when I say they, I'm talking about Ryan Pace. Take your chance on Tua for cheap instead of Watson from T. Davis. That's interesting. So I don't see any way we get Tua in a 1-for-1 deal with Miami. It would be a 3-team deal where like Miami, Houston, and Chicago would do a 3-team deal, and Miami would obviously get Watson, and Houston would get picks, and we'd get Tua. So that's interesting. I don't hate it, but again, it kind of falls in line with the same thinking of a rookie quarterback because the Chicago Bears have a win now roster. With a rookie quarterback, we're not going to get as far as we want. I just don't think Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy do it. They're going to go for a veteran. They are. And worst nightmare is we've got Nick Foles still on the roster, who could be the starting quarterback. Let's see here. If they trade for Wentz or Matt Ryan, I swear, from Iguodala, man, I love every time I think of Iguodala, I think of the Max Kellerman quote. Who do you want shooting the last shot? I want Iguodala. It's funny to me. If they trade for Wentz, I'm out. If they trade for Wentz, I will literally, make a video dedicated to bashing Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace. Well, Ryan Pace more so, but Carson Wentz is garbage. Matt Ryan, I don't hate Matt Ryan. I don't hate Matt Ryan. Jonathan, Houston should still trade J.J. Watt to just blow it up, right? Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing. Let me not go on a rant here, but just talk about this. So I'm sure you guys heard about Houston's new GM and coach and all of them saying that we want to keep Deshaun. Deshaun's our guy. I wouldn't take the job if it wasn't for Deshaun. Here's the thing. If you are a smart organization, you should first focus on culture. Culture is how you are able to establish winning because you want to establish a winning culture. How do you do that? You have guys buy in. You cannot have guys buy in if certain guys are out. Everybody needs to buy in. And so for the Texans, they've got players like Deshaun Watson, like J.J. Watt that are not buying in. That is not a good recipe for building a winning culture. I am not saying that you are a better team without Deshaun Watson or J.J. Watt. Absolutely not. You're not. But what I am saying is you weren't winning anything with them in the first place. Why not do a full refresh? Why not do a full restart? See, here's the thing that I hate. The NFL, in a way, is kind of like the MLB sometimes, where they hold on to these like traditional thinking of, oh, just because it's never happened before, where a quarterback in his prime requested a trade and we have to trade him. It happens in the NBA all the time, right? So nobody blinks an eye. But in the NFL, it never happens. So now all of a sudden, it's like, oh, no way should Houston trade him, folks. I want more quarterbacks to do this. I want more quarterbacks to do what Deshaun did. I wish Matthew Stafford got to the Rams 5-10 years earlier. All right? I wish quarterbacks saw teams wasting their time, their talent, and not putting the right pieces around him, and they asked out. In the NFL, it just never happened because, again, nobody did it. And careers got wasted. Not just quarterbacks, by the way. Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. You get my point here. People retiring because of these garbage organizations not surrounding players with the right talent around them. So I am so happy that Deshaun is doing this because, like I said, Deshaun Watson realizes he deserves better. And I'm not going to even say that, I don't believe this if the Bears don't get him. If he goes to another team, cool, that's fine. I will still have this opinion that I believe Deshaun Watson did the right thing. So that's where I'm just like, man, Houston, for your own sake, please let them go. Let J.J. Watt go. Let Deshaun Watson go. Get as many assets you can and move on. Move on. If we don't get Robinson, we should bring in Corey Davis. I believe A-Rob's coming back if we get Deshaun. All right, let's see here. Going down. Matt Ryan and Nick Foles. Wow, that sounds interesting. I am Josh 717. Lonzo Ball for Lori. Yeah, no, thank you. Not a big Lonzo guy. Are we keeping Trubisky so Malde side? No, we are not. I believe Mitchell Trubisky is moving on. Let's see here. Oh, we got a super chat from Brandon Vallado. Will Roquan get an extension this year if he's not traded? Absolutely. Roquan Smith, pending he doesn't get traded, deserves an extension and will get one. Sub Faiz, if we don't get Watson, who do you see the Bears going after? For Miguel, I mentioned this, so let's just reiterate. I believe Ryan Pace is going to try to trade for Derek Carr. He's going to try to trade for Matt Ryan. Those are the next two guys in line. He's going to try to sign Dak Prescott in free agency. If those three don't pan out, then it's really, really slim pickings at that point, right? We're talking about the Jimmy Garoppolos, the Sam Darnolds, the Ryan Fitzpatricks. Like, it's bad after that. So those three names he's going to go hard after if Deshaun doesn't pan out, and Ryan, Carr, and Dak, and then we'll see. Is Jalen Hurts a possibility for the Bears from Big A 05? No, I don't believe so. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. Blue game is – no, D. Rose needs to go to a team that is a contender. The Chicago Bulls, as much as I would love a homecoming, I don't need Derrick Rose. He needs to go to a Lakers, a Clippers, a Bucks, whatever team is a title contender, he needs to go for. He would be a huge help. And so does Blake Griffin. Detroit is wasting them. It's so sad. Faiz, would you take Jimmy G if he got cut from the Bears? If he got cut, maybe. But again, it's only if we don't get anyone else. Like Jimmy G, okay, here's my list. It's Deshaun, Dak, Carr, Ryan. Okay? That's the list. And then it's a huge drop-off. Then we're talking Darnold, Jimmy G, or maybe Jimmy G and Darnold are interchangeable. Yeah, so that's kind of high end. So if those top four options are out, like I said, Watson, Carr, Dak, and Ryan, then I would consider Jimmy G. Should we trade for Rodgers if we can't get Tua, Watson, and Ryan? Packers aren't going to trade Aaron Rodgers. They're just going to keep him for this year, and then after this year we could talk about it. All right, let's see here. Free agency list is depressing. Do you think 2 firsts and 2 seconds with Fuller could be enough for Deshaun Watson? No. I think it's going to be 3 firsts for sure. Let's see here. Trying to get through these again, guys. Super chat if you want your question answered right away. What's Trubisky's future looking like from Freddie Ray? Going somewhere and competing for a starting job and maybe being a backup. So Pittsburgh, New England, although I think he could start on New England. Any team that he goes to, I think he's going to compete for a starting job and maybe end up being the backup. Ryan Fitzpatrick and draft Trey Lance. Oh, good Lord, no thank you. Please no. We got a super chat here. Jeremiah, who's the new GM if Ryan Pace can't save his job? Too early to tell right now. I think it would be GM and coach. So remember, told you guys this before the season. This is a good question, Jeremiah, but let me reiterate. Before the season I said, or not before the season, after the season I said, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are going to go together or stay together. So if Ryan Pace was gone after this year, so is Matt Nagy. So we're going to need both a GM and a coach. And as far as who I would like as a coach, I like Brian Daboll from the Bills, their offense coordinator. I think he would be phenomenal. Joe Brady from the Panthers would be nice. As far as a GM, I know Louis Riddick has been a name that's been out there. Obviously, he works for ESPN. He doesn't have a lot of front office experience. I don't think he's had it in a while, but I wouldn't mind Louis Riddick. Just a couple of names I've thrown out there. But, again, it's both GM and coach, and I'll definitely have a better list for you guys, obviously if that comes to fruition. Full Moon with a super chat. Thank you. Matthew Stafford to the Rams. Bears get Jared Goff. The Bears don't want Jared Goff. The Rams traded him to the Lions. Nobody wants Jared Goff, by the way, but he's on the line, so, yeah, that's not happening. What is the cost for Derek Carr from Dan Bonnie? Good question. Derek Carr would probably cost a first-round pick, maybe like 2 seconds. Yeah, I think that's about it. So Matt Stafford's better than Derek Carr. Matt Stafford went for 2 firsts and a third. So I'm going to give Derek Carr 1 first and maybe a second or 2 seconds, but maybe a second and a third. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for Derek Carr. What about Matt Ryan? Yeah, 1 first-round pick, 2 seconds. The Bears need a real offensive coordinator. I agree. I really, really, really agree. Imagine paying $5 to say that. Man. Will you ever sell merch? I will, man. I will. This is the time now. The off season. I got a lot to come for you guys. I have a lot of things planned for you guys. So let me know. Jimmy Christ, I think you only answered the easy questions. What didn't I answer? Tell me. What did I not answer? I will answer the hard questions right now. I am ready, guys. You're going to be here for another couple minutes here. I'm trying to get through these as quickly as possible, but hit me with the hard questions. Yeah, I'm also doing a YouTube membership that's going to come soon. And so look out for that. That's going to be soon. So now that I have time, guys, by the way, I have more time. The season was so stressful in terms of how much I had to prepare and stuff. So we're talking about, 17 weeks of going live, 17 weeks of pre- and post-game videos. So now with the offseason, I'll have more time. So there's going to be a lot more things coming. All right, here we go. So let's see what the hard-hitting questions. Your thoughts on the new DC from Crate Culture? Love it. Love the hire from Sean Desai. I made a whole video about that. I thought he was a fantastic hire. I think the Bears defense is going to go back to elite status next season. I think Sean Desai was as good of a hire as you could do in terms of getting somebody in-house. If we get Ryan, would A-Rob come back? I think so. He would. Chump Sizzle, how old are you? I am 28 years old. Thank you for asking, Chump. Maybe I'll do a personal Q&A if you guys really want to know that. Let's see here. Do you have any hope at the OTs from Brian? I believe you're talking about the offensive line. Let's see here. Geno Smith from Seattle. Boy, you guys are these the hard questions you guys are talking about? My goodness. I don't even know why we're bringing this up. If we can land a QB through trade, what is your next best option? How do we approach the draft? So here, Jonah, good question. So here's what's going to happen, right? If Ryan Pace cannot land the quarterback that he wants, and I told you there's only 4 guys, Watson, Ryan, Carr, and Dak, then we have the drop-off to Jimmy G and Darnold. So let's cross all 6 of those guys off. Now we're literally talking about picking between Jameis, Fitzpatrick, Tyrod Taylor. Like, we know none of those guys are going to do anything for us. So at that point, yeah, you should draft. But trading up to get your guy, I mean, that is Ryan Pace taking one last swing at things. But here's what I'm just going to tell you. At that point, you have to draft a quarterback, obviously. But pending that quarterback turning into a stud, and we see it in year 1, and he might not even play in year 1, I think Ryan Pace is gone. I really do. I think this offseason, this decision at quarterback is going to decide his job. If he does not land one of those 4 guys, and even the 6 guys, I think he's gone. And so is Matt Nagy. Let's see here. Who is the starting running back for the Bears, Montgomery or Cohen? It is going to be David Montgomery, but I'm excited to get Tariq Cohen back next season. He's a huge part of the offense, folks. A lot of people don't understand that. What would Dak cost if they tag him? Well, if they tag Dak Prescott, then I don't think we can sign him. That means he's going back to Dallas, but he costs about $40 million, I think so, give or take. Miguel, when do you think Watson will be traded? So I answered this, I think, before the draft, so that Houston can go into the draft with a fresh start. How would you feel with Juju to replace A-Rob from that Bears fan? Downgrade. Juju's nice, but he's shown that he's not a number 1. A-Rob has shown you he's a number 1. Have you guys thought about this? If we land Deshaun somehow, what about signing Juju, and now you have A-Rob and Juju and Mooney? Just saying. I think Jameis has great potential if we can't get a top QB. I'm not a Jameis guy, man. Look, is he better than Fitzpatrick? Is he better than Tyrod Taylor? Is he better than these guys? Maybe, but I think he's still a failure. If we end up with Jameis Winston as our QB1, I think it's still a failure. That's kind of where I'm at. So again, I don't think Jameis Winston is the answer. I just don't. Where do you think Trubisky will land? That's a good question. I actually should do a video on that. I'd love to see him in New England with Bill Belichick. I would love that. Cam Newton is trash. They have really nobody else at quarterback. I think Mitch Trubisky could start for the Patriots right now if he went to them. I'd love it. So I'll make a video on that. But that is all, guys. I appreciate the questions. I'll be going live a lot more. I told you I have a lot more free time now in the offseason. I don't have as much in terms of what I have to put out every single week with my picks videos, all that. But excited Super Bowl this week. I might go live again this week. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.